Okay, this one was published on quadverum.com by Rex on May 3rd, 2019. It is entitled, POTUS, Hillary R. Clinton, America's Last President. If Hillary Clinton had won her rigged 2016 presidential election and was then inaugurated as POTUS 45, America would have entered a very dark period. It's unlikely the Republic would have survived it. As Rex explains, Obama had already started building a totalitarian system. Clinton would have turned it into a dictatorship. The article begins. Historians always remind us that in order to understand the present, we need to study the past. I'm going to add another angle. In order to predict the future, we need to study the present as well. Over the last 2 weeks, remember, May 3rd, 2019, and today, America has witnessed very disturbing and revealing behavior by the Democrats in Congress. Be under no illusion. In a last-ditch stand, a desperate Obama and Clinton, who by now know what is coming, are directing everything we are seeing. They are controlling the Democrats in Congress, as well as the narratives being parroted by their Lügenpresse. That means lying press, I think. It may be too late for them now, but in my view, they will still instruct their slaves to impeach President Donald J. Trump. They know that there is no chance of success, but that isn't the point. It's a political Hail Mary pass. Fast running out of options, they will use impeachment to continue smearing the president with lies and innuendo for as long as they can to distract their exhausted base and influence the 2020 presidential election. Stalin's Lavrentiy Beria and Hitler's Joseph Goebbels would be proud of their efforts if they were alive to witness the appalling spectacle we are watching. Why? Because Obama and Clinton are using totalitarian tactics that they mastered. And like Beria and Goebbels, Obama and Clinton will fail. However, they will try to cause as much damage on the way out as they can. That's what totalitarians do. Obama's legacy, totalitarianism. What we are witnessing right now should be of no surprise to anyone who is reasonably informed. The Democrats come across as police state thugs, trained apparatchiks who find themselves out of power, but don't seem to have realized it yet. Without power, their totalitarian impulse is exposed. It's an impulse that is learned. One they were indoctrinated in from being part of Barack Obama's administration. We must always remember that Obama was a very dangerous and radical ideologue, essentially a Marxist. His ideological position was founded on government control of the masses, as well as the distribution of power and government revenues along ideological lines. His platform was transformative and revolutionary. The aim was to subsume the American Republic into a global coalition of borderless post-nation-state regional entities. In Obama's mind, this could not be achieved without centralized control of the masses, which of course justified spying on his rivals and his enemies. Sane people call it totalitarianism or dictatorship. Obama and his crew called it hope and change. It is now quite obvious that by 2016, in fact, well before, Obama had already successfully put in place the structure of a future dictatorial government, his only constraint being the citizenry's expectation of regular elections. As is proven by his outrageous actions between 2015 and 2017, it is now clear that the supreme narcissist Obama thought little of elections and despised anyone who disagreed with his ideological goals. To him, they were an obstacle to his transformation of America. This attitude permitted a set of frightening behaviors in the Obama administration that we still only now know a fraction about. There is little doubt that what we've seen exposed in his FBI and DOJ infected his entire administration. Obama's acolytes put aside their duty to the American Constitution to embark on a covert power grab, trashing the freedoms of American citizens along the way. There's still so much that we are about to learn about Obama's weaponization and attempted transformation of the American Republic into a progressive leftist gulag. Of course, such was Obama's hold on the levers of power and his contempt for American citizens, the masses would never have known that he and Clinton rigged the 2016 election if she had won, which would have provided a President Clinton with all the space she needed to consolidate her power. POTUS Clinton, American dictatorship. POTUS Obama was building a totalitarian state to use power for ideological objectives. The Clintons are no ideologues. In my view, they would have turned Obama's state into a dictatorship to use power to line their own pockets. Another thing, in my opinion, she would have been a far more repressive and dangerous leader than Obama. Hillary Clinton would have been America's last POTUS. Let's consider just 10 of the likely steps a POTUS Clinton would have taken after victory to consolidate total power. First, cover-up. BleachBit and destruction of BlackBerry phones with hammers tell you all you need to know, as does the fact that Hillary Clinton, as Secretary of State, never used her official government email, and that she routed all electronic email communications through a private unsecured server in her home. Oh, did I mention that there was no Inspector General at State during her tenure providing oversight? Imagine if she was POTUS. Any evidence that existed anywhere of Clinton criminality or corruption would have been deleted, eliminated, removed, destroyed. Ditto, all of her inner circle would have been protected in the same way. Next, division of spoils. Obviously, all the conspirators in Spygate would have expected rewards for their criminal conduct in 2015 to 2017. At the top, Obama and the Clintons. I mention the Clintons deliberately because once in power, this would have been the Bill and Hillary Clinton presidency. With apparatchiks in place all over the administration, massive pay-for-play corruption would have started at the very top. It would have been a free-for-all for their Clinton Foundation, with bribes and rewards all the way down to maintain the cover-up. Obama would have been venerated as one of the great presidents, with statues, books, and movies produced in his name. In my opinion, his ultimate objective was to become the United Nations Secretary General, which of course he would have gotten. As for the rest, there are so many. They would have been spread across the administration to consolidate Clinton's power. In my view, Brennan would have remained in place at the CIA and been given free rein to embark on a reign of terror with a new FBI director, a young and pliable Peter Strzok. Loretta Lynch, Supreme Court. Comey, purged. Next, purges, spying, and intimidation. There is little doubt that POTUS Clinton would have expanded the massive illegal spying system she inherited from Obama. In my view, she would have also expanded its application to take down anyone she viewed as a threat. Remember, Obama loved spying on Americans. This suited his ideological objectives, but also satisfied the sense of power his narcissism demanded. We know the Obama administration was spying on at least the Trump campaign team between 2015 and 2017, but his illegal spying in conjunction with Brennan stretched as far back as at least 2010. They spied on journalists and their families, they spied on members of Congress, they spied on political rivals, famously unleashing a weaponized IRS onto them. It's likely that thousands of innocent Americans were being spied on illegally between 2008 and 2016. Obama had already built a very powerful and illegal spying operation by 2016. Illegal tapping of the powerful NSA database was ongoing. In June 2013, Maxine Waters unwisely revealed that Obama had built his own powerful database that no one knew about. Quote from Maxine Waters, "The thing I think some people are missing here is the president has put in place an organization that contains the kind of database that no one has ever seen before in life. That's going to be very, very powerful. That database will have information about everything on every individual in ways that it's never been done before." End quote. In addition, the same people Obama used to target innocent Americans would have been ready to go on day one for the new POTUS Clinton. Americans would have watched that team in action very early in a Clinton presidency as she executed her first purge. This would have likely followed the MO that they used on Donald Trump, Carter Page, and General Flynn, framing them for things they need committed using fabricated or manipulated evidence. Clinton's first purge would have been particularly cruel, in my opinion. Donald Trump, his family, team, and associates, as well as any donors, would have been destroyed. Prominent conservative voices and cultural figures across the board would have been targeted, including anyone on social media that was deemed influential. Any political threats, including those in the military and intelligence communities, would have been taken out. Be in no doubt, the Trump family would have been destroyed, framed as agents of Russia. Donald J. Trump, in particular, who the Clintons fear, would likely have been tried and found guilty of treason. Then removed from the equation, silenced, and left to rot in solitary in a maximum security penitentiary. Purges would have been a regular feature of Clinton's presidency, in my opinion. A cruel and vindictive woman with an evil soul, Clinton would likely have enjoyed them. In addition, they would have been an effective method of maintaining control over allies. Next, ideological collectivization and infantilization. One of the key characteristics of Obama's support base is their inability to think. By that, I mean the ability to be critical, to evaluate positions on all sides, considering and evaluating credible evidence. This skill used to be celebrated among Western democracies. It has always been loathed by totalitarians, however, as it threatens their ability to control thought. Critical thinkers tend to be curious and question everything they're told, as well as to express their own opinions on issues. Obama hated critical thinkers. Independent minds frightened him, as General Flynn found out at the DIA. Instead, Obama preferred being able to tell people what to think. By infiltrating schools and universities with curriculums based on far-left liberal progressive ideology, as well as apparatchiks to teach it, Obama was quite successful at propagandizing an entire generation. As I have noted many times before, Obama also infantilized them. Look at his base now. They have an almost childlike, utopian view of the world that bears no relation to its realities. Despite the mountain of evidence that implicates both Obama and Clinton between 2015 and 2017, they are simply unable to accept that Obama's Lügenpresse have lied to them for years. Even now, gullible and naive, many believe anything that fake news tells them. Clinton would definitely have continued this. A sleeping and indoctrinated population that has no diversity of thought is very easy to control and manipulate. It makes it much easier to demonize them, to smear and destroy rivals. Next, propaganda ministry and Lügenpresse/fake news. As we have experienced over the last 4 years, the media outlets collectively known as the mainstream media, MSM, were thoroughly infiltrated by Obama and Clinton operatives. This was done in an organized and structured campaign run by Ben Rhodes. For example, key executives within media outlets were married or related to Obama officials. Experts were often ex-intelligence community agents allied to Obama. It's likely that outlets were provided with funding by the Obama administration diverted through PACs and by other means. What resulted was a self-supporting and corrupt media propaganda machine. It was weaponized. For example, take the Carter Page FISA. Obama's intelligence agencies leaked false stories to their media operatives who published them as articles. The articles would then be used by the same intel agencies as evidence in FISA applications. The links between the reporters and the intel agencies were never disclosed. The same method was used to create and promote the Trump-Russia lie. I fear that we will discover that many Americans have been targeted in this manner between 2008 and 2016. Of course, no one would have been aware of this corruption and criminality if Clinton had won. As POTUS, complete control of a fake news apparatus, probably with Rhodes in charge, would have been a frightening weapon at Clinton's disposal that she would have used often to spread propaganda and to destroy rivals. Next, control of the internet. We would have also seen Clinton take control of the internet. Why? The internet is the last refuge for independent thinkers, determined to come to their own conclusions. It's the existence of open source information on the internet that allows free thinkers to research and debunk the partisan lies from MSM apparatchiks. We know that Obama had seen this threat. He had already started his campaign to gain control of internet content, as well as to begin repressing freedom of expression online. Clinton would have completed that process, ensuring that she had total control of information that was available to the public. Censorship of content and expression, not to mention punitive campaigns against those indulging in wrongthink, would have been intensified and have become commonplace. Next, personality cult. One of Clinton's key assets, now being dismantled 24/7, is her ability to promote herself as a heroic and noble woman victimized by evil enemies, dedicating her life to America. That anyone ever believed such nonsense beggars belief, but they did. Many still do. The Hillary cult would have become far more pronounced if she had won the presidency. It would have become very difficult to resist as well. Next, abolition of Second Amendment. By the end of her first term, the Second Amendment would have been removed from the Constitution, and disarming of the citizenry by force would be well underway. Of course, this would be a very important step in the process of consolidating power. Next, suspension of the Electoral College. This would have been a priority. The Electoral College would have been abolished to be replaced by a voting system that guaranteed Democratic Party power forever. Disenfranchisement of the electorate would have been easier than many assume. Most Americans had no clue about the Electoral College until POTUS Trump won the 2016 election. If Clinton had won, they still wouldn't. Next, never-ending war. Without a doubt, Clinton would have continued the warmongering that characterized the administration of Nobel Peace Prize winner Barack Obama. War keeps the population distracted. War creates enemies and fear in populations that can be used by malign leaders to increase control. Most importantly, war means big money. And two of the greediest people on this planet are Hillary and Bill Clinton. They have always loved money more than power. What I have set out above are just 10 ways that I believe POTUS Hillary Clinton would have used to consolidate power by expanding the scale, reach, and aggression of Obama's totalitarian state. No doubt readers can think of more. The result would have been a dictatorship wearing the clothing of democracy. It would have been the beginning of a dark time for America and, of course, the free world. The price of freedom, eternal vigilance. Some may be reading this and finding it unrealistic or hyperbolic. Fair enough, but consider this. Between 2015 and 2017, Obama and Clinton conspired to fabricate evidence, illegally spy on, and destroy the lives of high-profile, powerful patriots to cheat Hillary's way to the Oval Office. And remember, they didn't just do this before the election. They intensified the effort after the election, and even worse, after the inauguration. These are sick, dangerous people. Ask yourself, if they were willing to destroy Trump, what would stop them from targeting you? Answer, nothing would. Still think I'm being hyperbolic? That it can't happen in America? Of course it could. What I have described above is not unique or new. A descent into totalitarianism has happened many times before in different parts of the world, in countries that once enjoyed relative freedom, and whose citizens had taken their freedom for granted. Citizens who fell asleep and let foxes into the chicken house. They forgot the meaning of the phrase, eternal vigilance is the price of liberty. For those few readers who still think it could never happen in America, here's a truth bomb for you. Obama had already started it, and many Americans were asleep as he did it. Luckily, one very powerful citizen was not. In fact, he was very much awake. Donald J. Trump was vigilant. He was watching, and he decided to act. Making America great again. We must be eternally grateful for President Donald J. Trump and always remain vigilant. Yes, the population elected POTUS Trump on that famous 8th day of November 2016. But it is POTUS Trump and his team who took down a coup, snared the Obama-Clinton network, and are now ready to start to restore the rule of law. It's Trump who has somehow borne the burden of relentless attack, fighting at times a one-man war against malign, evil actors bent on his and America's destruction. POTUS Trump understands that the American Republic is strongest when power is not taken from the citizenry, but given back to them. That's the example America sets to the rest of the freedom-loving world and why the USA is such an important bulwark against tyranny. He is winning. as are we. In conclusion, despite what leftists may delude themselves with, what happened, happened. America came close to being snuffed out by enemies of the Republic, and it must never happen again. POTUS 45 is saving America. The United States of America is roaring back. President Donald J. Trump, working with the American citizenry, is making America great again.